Tonight, human trafficking cases continue to pop up. Water problems mar New Year celebrations. And more funds released to schools by Education Ministry. Very good evening. The recent discovery of human trafficking cases here continues to keep our Immigration Department on its toes. But although not as prevalent as some of our Western neighbours, local authorities say there is no time to let our guard down against what has become a global scourge. Apisalome Rambo with the details.
The Immigration Department is now hot on the heels of another suspected human trafficking case. A team is now in Nandi following leads pertaining to some Indian nationals currently in the country.
Some Indian nationals have been lured to come into the country and promised to undergo some sort of studies in some tertiary institutions in the country, but have not been fulfilled by the local counterparts. We are verifying and investigating to the information received and then see whether there's some elements of trafficking identified.
According to Vuniwanga, the nature of cases of trafficking here in Fiji varies at the moment.
There's a certain a case that was investigated and prosecuted whereby some Thai nationals were involved. Thai female nationals were involved, and they have already gone back to their country.
The department is keeping tabs on prevalent trafficking practices that needs early detection to effectively curb its increase. But Vuniwanga says they can't do this alone, making reference to a recent case.
With Nigerian soccer players, those that were involved have gone back to Nigeria. We've worked together with the Fiji Football Association, and fortunately that they have mentioned that they will assist in ensuring that there is no other cases of trafficking of players.
Penalties are in place. Perpetrators and those engaging in this crime will face the full brunt of the law.
Those that were convicted as traffickers, 4 male, 2 foreign and 2 locals, are currently in prison, serving their terms ranging from 8 years to 11 years.
Vuniwanga says a team has been formed to address the issue. Apisalome Rambo, Fiji One News.
New Year's Day is an anticipated day all around the world, but for some residents here in the Central Division, there wasn't much to celebrate. That's because they welcomed 2014 without one of the basic needs, water. Halita Stat reports.
Residents living in Tuirara Makoi were some of many people who started their new year on a dry note. The water disruptions lasted for 3 days, leaving residents frustrated.
We haven't got much water for washing, and plus the weather is really hot. We need water to drink and wash our clothes when it's hot water, and there's no water. It's really frustrating for us.
The residents were caught off guard as they claimed that no prior warning was given regarding water disruptions.
So the first day there was a water that dispatched to Colombo village, then we stopped here, then we get the water from the truck. On the second day, we were informed that they'll be dispatching water on this area. So maybe after 12, then we saw the truck coming in this area, dispatching water.
They didn't mention the water disruption before they closed the water, so we were very sad to get the water disrupted.
Some residents had to utilize whatever water they had in reserves prior to the disruptions.
We're lucky we had collected some water. We would wash our dishes and clothes at whatever time supply was restored. Supply would come on at 2 o'clock in the morning. We had to get up at that time to store water. If we didn't, we wouldn't have any water to use in the morning.
Several areas in the Suvarnosori corridor were affected by the disruptions. Halitesh Dutt, Fiji One News.
Comments were sought from the Water Authority of Fiji, however no response was forthcoming. Meanwhile, the Water Authority of Fiji says low water levels have been recorded at the Flagstaff, Turek and Nasinu reservoirs. As a result, residents along the Subarno-Sori corridor can expect low pressure or complete disruption. In a statement, it says that supply in affected areas will be restored progressively as the reservoir levels pick up. However, water trucks will continue to cart water to affected areas. The second batch of checks for the free education grant was distributed to 308 schools today. Of these, 240 were for primary schools and 68 for secondary schools. 175 schools haven't received their grants yet. The final disbursement of grants will be done on Wednesday. A total of $7.7 million has been deposited into 723 school bank accounts so far. Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary Dr. Bridgelal says head teachers, principals and managements of the eligible schools should make necessary arrangements to prepare their schools for classes. Only 13 days remain before the first school term gets underway. A former Fiji resident now living in Australia sustained serious burns last week, which prevented authorities from identifying her. According to the Sydney Morning Herald, Monica Chetty was found on Friday night at Hoxton Park in Sydney. Members of the Indian and Muslim communities in Sydney have tried to help Chetty. She has been homeless and was seen begging for money outside a shopping centre last week, despite her severely burnt state. Chetty says she sustained burns when she opened the radiator cap of a Ford laser car which she sleeps in. The report says Chetty is now in an induced coma state. The number of people diagnosed with dengue fever has risen to 40 reported cases a day. That's an increase of 10 more people contracting the disease since the outbreak began. The Ministry of Health is now calling on the public to keep their surroundings clean. Sharon Wilson reports.
From October to December 31st, the national statistics on those living with dengue fever stood at 320. And to date, that number has increased to 165. Now an outbreak, the Ministry of Health says people should take preventative measures seriously.
So there's been a very dramatic increase in the number of dengue cases that the ministry has been registering. From the 31st of October until the 30th of December, we've registered around 320 cases cumulatively.
The trend, he says, has consistently risen because people are not taking heed of advice.
Unfortunately, this dengue situation we have right now has knocked on our door during the festive season. So maybe the population now is ready to focus in and get rid of this issue that we have.
Dr. Kama says people need to destroy mosquito breeding places and if infected, present early at nearby health clinics.
We expect it to level off and come down as soon as we've had some control of the mosquito. The mosquito is basically the main transmitting vector in this case, and it's basically the black and white striped mosquito called the Aedes aegypti. It's a domesticated mosquito, lives around the home.
He adds people have created situations in their homes and surroundings allowing mosquitoes to breed. Any source where still water is stored should be removed.
But most affected within that age category are 10 to 20 years old and 20 onwards. So quite a number are children, quite a big percentage of those affected are children too. But this is expected because every year you have a cycle. You have a cycle of these dengue outbreaks.
With no reports of death so far, Dr. Kama says those reportedly into the severe stages have had to be hospitalized. Sharon Wilson, Fiji One News.
The increase in the number of people entering our borders with undeclared currency continues to worry local authorities. Director Immigration Nemani Buniwanga says from their experience in these matters, these large amounts of funds sneaked into the country can contribute to the commissioning of more crimes. For now, the amounts involved and the type of offending nationalities are being very closely scrutinized by authorities.
Though the selection process at our borders is random at the moment, the results is concerning.
Even when they have been selected in random and this being identified, this means that one in two passengers can be carrying the unidentified large sum of funds.
Most who have been caught and investigated are Asian nationals. Current trends are definitely worrying. Language, it seems, is a major barrier, especially when trying to understand declaration documents. However, Vuniwanga says similar arrangements exist in other countries, only the amount differs.
For Fiji, it's more than $10,000, but the amount of money that's been caught or been found on some of the tourists or travelers that are coming into the country, even more than hundreds of thousands, going to millions of dollars. That is far bigger than the amount that needs to be declared.
Vuniwanga says non-declaration of cash means money is being brought in for other reasons, which could include crime. Those caught are investigated thoroughly and monitored closely, right up to the prosecution stage.
Once it is taken to the court, the money is not going to go back to these individuals, because one, if they are being charged and convicted, then this money will go into the proceeds of crime.
A number of Asian nationals have been prosecuted for failing to declare foreign currency in their possession. Apisalome Rambo, Fiji One News.
Still in the news ahead, the search continues for Eliki Suka, and partnership forged between FDB and Western Union. Hello again. Government will issue an advanced payout of $8 million to cane farmers in the coming weeks. This is expected to assist preparations for the school year. Bulletin reports.
Close to 16,000 farmers in the western and northern cane belts of Fiji will benefit from their toil of last season after the industry announced an advance payment of $5 per ton, thanks to the total harvest of 1.6 million tons of cane last year.
Like last year, we are also going to advance a payment of $5 per ton to the growers. Actually, the total payout to the farmers, based on last year's crop, it will be around $8 million.
This after the industry decided to lobby with government in assisting their most valuable resource in the start of the school year.
This supports government's initiative of ensuring that every child is put to school, with particularly with the present budget allocation to schools. And we thought where the industry could assist growers in making sure that every child in the cane farm is at school.
The news also comes as music to the ears of the growers as the festive season fades on and the mammoth task of preparing their children for the school year dawns in.
Yes, it's a very good news for the farmers that the industry has agreed to once again pay them a special cane payment of $5 per ton. And I understand we are just trying to finalize the payment, and the dates will be announced soon, and it's going to be sometime next week.
With the industry anticipating a bumper crop harvest in June, the good fortunes of last year has come back to reward those that have put in the hard yards, as those steering the ship hope for an even better 2014 season. Tamana, Fiji One News.
A child who sustained burns from a fire at Singatoka 2 weeks ago is now fighting for her life in New Zealand. 8-year-old Victoria is accompanied by an uncle whose urgent travel was assisted by the Department of Immigration. Victoria and her mother, 40-year-old Naomi Kolinisau, sustained serious burns during a fire at a roadside restaurant and pub at Natawara on the 23rd of December. Up until today, police have not received any information that can help them locate 65-year-old Eliki Suka. Suka is the husband of the 40-year-old deceased and father of Victoria. Police are once again requesting information that could assist in the investigations. With investment prospects brightening up in the north, concerns are also looming within the Immigration Department. As Apisalome Rambo reports, these are mainly related to manpower.
With many obstacles stacked against it, the Immigration Department's biggest challenge is human resources. Nemani Vuniwanga cites Vonuolevu, saying it is currently being served by only 3 officers. With investor interest in the Northern Division growing, a couple of shortfalls were noted.
A lot of other activities that are involved that are highlighted. The breach of permits, not only that, some are trying to invest, but they do not have the funds to invest in the country.
With a country known the world over for tourism, an efficient immigration border control is a must.
And if we don't pull up our socks by ensuring that the right policies are in place, and have the right number of people to deal with the issues that are coming up every day, this will tend to be a national problem.
Locals have actually helped in terms of highlighting some immigration issues. At times, the status of foreigners needs to be determined to ascertain if there's been a breach in immigration laws.
With the number of staffing, we are trying to deal with the issues as sometimes it causes a delay in our investigations. It calls for a delay in our investigations, which is uncalled for. But
there will be an intake of 34 immigration officers next month. Abisalome Rambo, Fiji One News.
Thefts and vandalism at cemeteries continues to be a problem for the general public as well as authorities. But those in charge are now looking at ways to improve security and amenities at cemeteries around the country.
It's a final resting place for many who have passed on, but it's hardly accorded the respect it deserves. The cemeteries have been spared from thefts and vandalism. It's something that certainly frustrated many family members.
The onus is on members of the public, I guess, to show some respect for the various burial sites that we have. We cannot do much on the removal of these flowers and wreaths.
The effort taken to decorate grave sites have been disregarded. Items left by families have gone begging. But things are expected to change this year, with the state now taking a proactive approach.
We have officers that often patrol at night. They patrol the various the cemeteries, just to see that we don't have any trespassers.
Complaints have also been raised over the lack of amenities provided. Changes can also be expected here.
In regards to the amenities that we have at the various cemeteries, the Fiji Correction Service will be working hard this year to ensure that we have amenities set up, and especially with taps, because there are a lot of families and relatives that often visit the cemeteries to go and have it cemented off or monuments done. So this year we will be looking into getting taps into place. We'll be setting up taps and seeing that the amenities are set up.
But all this will be useless without the cooperation of the general public.
One of our concern is, most relatives, when they visit their loved ones, they leave flowers and wreaths, and they leave it there for a long time. And the onus is on the Fiji Correction Service to maintain and have it cleaned up. So we'd also like to request if members of the public, relatives and loved ones could also visit regularly to see that they have it cleaned as well.
Overall, what's needed here is for some form of respect to be shown to those who have passed away. Reviver for all, Fiji One News.
The Fiji Development Bank has achieved most of their 2013 goals, especially in the agriculture sector. Acting CEO Nabitalai Lakadaka says while they're waiting for Cabinet to approve their financial statements, there are positive signs of what can be expected this year.
They've been the lifeline for many in the agricultural sector, providing financial assistance to farmers in the past. Last year's performance speaks volumes of the contribution they made to the economy.
Well, I believe the June, our financial year ends in June, so we've finalized our accounts. It's now ready to be tabled to Cabinet, and we may not be able to divulge any information before that. But we would like to say that we have done well in the last financial year. That's what we can say at the moment.
But it doesn't stop there. They plan to take it up a notch and continue providing assistance for economic development purpose.
The goals that we would like to achieve is that we would like to expand on the product that we offer, and also in consideration of the market status at the moment. We would like to be there with them and be compatible in terms of rates, in terms of terms of the loans. But basically having a wider range of products is more important to us because we focus on our agricultural rural area sectors. We'd like to remain focusing on those sectors.
The upgrade of roads in the Northern Division is good news to the bank as it tries to meet its customers' demands.
So the bank, FDB, would like to again maintain focus on our agricultural and rural sector developments, especially in the north, where infrastructure roading is almost complete, probably in the next few months.
these are some of the avenues that we see growth in terms of our business sector. So that is one of the major areas of our focus, where development is coming up, and also in terms of export and manufacturing. But I would like to encourage, again, the rural sector in terms of our strategic plan for this year.
FDB has 11 branches around the country. Drew Bukelangi, Fiji One News.
All medical and dental practitioners in the country have less than a month to renew their annual practicing license. The Fiji Medical and Dental Council Chief Executive Dharmesh Prasad says by 31st of this month, all formalities should be completed for license renewals. The Council is also urging practitioners to continue with their professional development training, as this is a major requirement for the renewal of their practicing licenses.
Practitioners who need indemnity, they have to ensure that their indemnity is paid up, and they send us the receipt to show that yes, they have got indemnity. So we have already sent reminders and e-texts to all the practitioners. The forms are available on the website. They have to ensure they fill it completely. As like last year, they need to ensure that they have attained all the continuing professional development points that they need to attain.
The Council adds they will be firm, and those practitioners who fail to renew their licenses on time will be penalised.
There is a penalty. There is a penalty of $50 come 31st January. If you have not lodged your application by 31st January, there is a penalty of $50. And come 1st of March, if you don't have your practice license renewed, we will inform if you don't have a practice license, you cannot practice. It's illegal to practice.
We have the latest from around the Pacific up next. Stay with us. The World Bank's Board of Executive Directors has approved a $14.6 million grant to help Samoans living in coastal communities adapt to climate change. The Enhancing the Climate Resilience of Coastal Resources and Communities project will develop and implement immediate adaptation activities to protect the lives and livelihoods of the people. Pacific Islands World Bank representative Frans Dries Gross says since around 70% of all Samoans living within 1 kilometre of the coast, they need this kind of help. He adds this is why the World Bank has chosen countries like Samoa to help it mitigate the impacts of climate change on its citizens. Around 80% of Samoa's 403-kilometre coastline is vulnerable to erosion, flooding or landslides, according to the World Bank. The project will operate in 16 districts on the two most populous islands, Upolu and Savaii. Residents in Honiara will experience significant water shortages, rationing and prolonged outages. That's according to Solomon Water. Back News reports that this resulted from a dispute between a landowners group and the Commissioner of Lands. Solomon Water says a group of landowners have illegally shut off part of the Kongolai water source over the festive period. The Kongolai water source provides more than half of Honiara's water supply. Health authorities in Honiara have warned against a possible outbreak of disease if the matter is not resolved soon. Now remember, if you'd like to view tonight's Fiji One News Bulletin, you can visit our website at www.fijione.tv. You can also watch previous news bulletins as well as our current affairs, business and sports shows. A deal sealed today now allows Western Union customers to send and receive money through the Fiji Development Bank branches around the country. It's an issue of accessibility given that FDB branches are quite widespread. General Manager Stephen Narayan says this arrangement will greatly benefit those customers in the outer islands.
This is an addition to all our others. So we have over 100 locations to do Western Union. And by signing up with the Fiji Development Bank, that gives an opportunity for us to serve more of the rural people.
The FDB says this arrangement will be convenient for customers and will be a one-stop shop of sorts.
Especially in Suva. FPOS machines and all that, they are also requesting for those, so we are working on those areas. providing the opportunity to customers to enable them to pay loans much more efficiently and effectively without traveling to the bank for payments. And that's been part of the plan for the bank.
And we go to sports now with Myron, and same player dropped again from the Fiji 7 squad.
That's right, Vili. Ben Ryan has been forced to crack the whip once again. That's coming up tonight. Also in sport, Viri confirms move to France. And Australia whitewash England in Ashes Test.